If your push-ups look like this and you want to improve them so they look like this, stay tuned because I'm going to teach you some tips and tricks on how to improve your push-up form. One of the biggest things that actually gets in people's way of performing proper push-ups, ego. Because push-ups are an exercise where you hear people saying, oh, I could do like 100 push-ups in one set. Cool, good for you. And people will say, I could do so many push-ups, and their ego gets in the way of that. But here's the thing. When improving your push-up form, there's going to be a decrease in how many push-ups you can do. So if you could do 50 half-ass terrible form push-ups, cool. If that's how you want to do it, good for you. But if you want to do proper push-ups, push-ups that go full range of motion, that also don't beat up your shoulders, your elbows, and your wrists, then get ready to having less push-ups overall. Because that's part of it. We want to clean up the form, we're going to have to do less reps as a result. So let's dig into it and go over a couple of the things that I see that we can improve and the common mistakes that people make. The biggest mistake I see people making is allowing their head to drop down. I call it chicken neck. Walk, 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 walking like a chicken. So when they're doing push-ups, they let their head kind of sag like this, and they think they're going full range of motion because they're looking down at the floor, and they're getting there faster, but their chest is still far away from the floor. So their head is sagged. So how do we fix that? Well, there's one quick fix that we can do here, all right? So I could just say, hey, look up. This is more of a military style push-up, is looking forward. That helps correct this issue of having a droopy neck right there, looking up. But what we want to do is we want to then teach you how to not look up, but then get the head straight. So think nice long head when doing these. A good rule of thumb is when we're at the bottom of the push-up position, our thighs, chest, and nose should hit the floor at the same time. So I'm right here, everything is even. Now I'm getting down. I can feel the front of my thighs hitting, stomach, and then nose and chest. When I press up, I want to keep everything locked in. Boom, to bring it all the way back up. So that's tip number one. If your head drops like this, start by looking up. Once you do that for a couple of reps, start to then think chin tucked, head back, and that will fix that droopy neck issue there. The next mistake I see people making is allowing their hips to drop. So they'll be up here, and then they'll have their hips sagging like this. And then when they're doing push-ups, they're here. And I've even seen people, they'll be looking forward like this, hips are down, but they're not even getting their chest close to the floor. So one of the ways that you can fix that is by lifting your hips up and really pushing through your upper back. One other thing you can do is, so you can see my butt is way up here, actively tuck your hips. My abs are engaged, I'm nice and tight, I'm pressing through my shoulder blades, so when I lower myself down, my midsection stays locked in. There's a full connection between from my quads all the way up to my shoulders. So a lot of times people have a disconnect right here in their midsection. So when we're in this push-up position, instead of having your hips dropped, think, lock out the legs, tuck your hips, press up through your shoulders, rounding out this midsection area. Slow and controlled on the way down. Right there. And that'll kind of help fix sagging hips. Another mistake I see people making is having their arms and wrists in an improper position. Now there are so many different variations for push-ups. You can go wide, you can go narrow, you can do different things with your arms. But for like the standard push-up, ideally what we want to do is we want to place it so that way our hands are not directly under our shoulders, but slightly behind. So you can see here my hands are slightly behind my shoulders, and from the front position, my hands are shoulder width. I'm not too wide, and I'm not too narrow. Just go right at shoulder width. Again, keep the hands underneath the shoulders. All right, now the position for my elbows. So I'm in a good position here. Hands are to shoulders. Shoulders are slightly over the hands. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to have a nice 45-degree angle. So as I'm lowering down, my elbows aren't tucked and they're not too wide. My fingers are spread out on the floor. I can grip the ground and I'm putting even tension on my hands. Everything is tight in my midsection, and then I can press up from there. So we're doing the push-up. Hands not too wide, shoulder width position, just slightly underneath the shoulders. We're pressing back, keeping this nice 45-degree angle between our shoulder, elbow, and wrist. And that's one other way to kind of help protect your shoulders and elbows while doing push-ups. If you're still struggling to apply those tips, you might need to make the push-ups a little bit easier. Two different ways you can do that. Number one, you could use a band. Attach a band to a pull-up bar, pull it down so it's around your waist, then get in the push-up position. This is really helpful for people that have a tough time keeping their hips up, because now we have a band, that's actively pulling the hips up. So we can get in the position, everything is tight, head is not drooping, I'm keeping the chin tucked. Again, if you need to, we can look up, and we're gonna slowly lower. Again, everything is touching the floor at the same time, slow and controlled. And if you're noticing that I'm saying slow and controlled a lot, it's because anytime that you're learning something, if you're learning technique and form, we don't want to speed through it. I want you to take your time and focus. Focus on how your body is moving. Where are your joints positioned? Where are your hips at? Where's your head at? Those things keep in consideration when doing these push-ups. Another way to make the push-up easier and to focus on your form is to adjust the angle. So you could use a bar and a rack or a Smith machine. You can lift the bar up. The higher it is, the easier it's going to be. The lower it is, the harder it's going to be. Again, get your hands in the right position. Lift your heels up. Squeeze your butt. Slowly lower, keeping everything straight in your body, then press away. You can also use a bench. Any surface that's a little bit higher than the floor to change up your angle is going to help make the push-up a little bit easier to focus on keeping your hips tight so they're not sagging, head up so it's not dropping, and the elbows, shoulders, and wrists in a healthy position. So changing the angle of your push-up will make it a little bit easier for you. And those are some of the ways that you can improve your push-up form. Remember, don't let your ego get involved. If you need to make it easier and do those adjustments, make it easier. If you are doing less reps, but they're better quality reps, that's a good sign because you will be able to improve from there. Again, who cares if you can do 50 half-assed push-ups? If you can do one great, high-quality, fantastic push-up, that is way better than half-ass reps. So kill your ego. Change the angle if you need to, focus on those tips, and improve your push-up form. Trust me, you will get much better results from it, and more importantly, your wrists, elbows, and shoulders will thank you in the long run. If you found this video valuable, please share it with somebody else, especially if you have a friend that brags about how many terrible push-ups they can do. Share it with them, and then teach them this. If you have any questions or need anything, reach out because I'm always here to provide you with information about fitness, nutrition, and mindset. Have a good one, and I'll catch you next time.